All right, what is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is. Patriots Colby here, back with another video, and with the draft right around the bend, just a couple of days away. Your boy is coming out strong, trying to get this last-minute draft content in. Unfortunately, I've been working a lot outside of here, so haven't exactly been able to get as much draft content out as I would have liked, especially compared to last year. But unfortunately, your boy has to pay bills, has to make money one way or another. I do want to say before we start this video, though, and this will be, as the title we probably already read, this one's going to be with trades. We already did one with without trades and one where you guys make the picks. This one is going to include trades, whether that is up or down in the NFL. You guys will just have to wait and see. But just like I did last year, guys, I will be going live for this 2022 NFL draft. I'll be going live for the first round, and then we'll take it day by day. Last year I went live for rounds 1 and 2. We'll see if I go live for rounds 1 and 2, rounds 1, 2, and 3, or just round 1. We'll see. But I'll definitely be going live this Thursday for round 1, except this year, I'm doing something a little different. If you are a Patreon member, of mine, and if you're a Patreon member, I already told you this, so you already know. But if you're a Patreon member, which link in the description below where it says how to support the channel, it's always in the link in my descriptions below under Patreon. But again, if you're a Patreon member, you will be joining me for this draft. When I go live, if you choose to do so, I'll be giving you a link where you can come join me live on the channel to react to this 2022 NFL draft. So if any of that suits you fancy and you want to join on the channel for this draft, link in the description below. Make sure you guys become a Patreon member. But without further ado, let's roll that intro and get started with this mock draft. All right, let's pull up the screen here. And I like it. I like it next to it. I feel like it looks better. I feel like it looks better next to it rather than this one. Y'all let me know how you feel for future reference, but I think this one's probably better because it doesn't block the bottom right there. So I'm gonna pause this real quick before we start. I will say this year's draft is, from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of teams that want to trade back from their picks and not a whole lot of teams that are looking to trade up. We're still obviously going to see trades in the first round. The Patriots are one team that a lot of people expect to trade back, and I have heard rumors that they are interested in trading back from that 21st overall pick. Unfortunately, I think this is going to be one of those years where, as anything in life, supply and demand, if there's a lot of teams that want to trade back, but there's not a lot of teams that want to trade up, the Patriots might be one of those teams who can't really find a suitor, or at least find a suitor that they agree with on the details. And New England might have to select at 21. But let's just see how this board goes. I will say I'm also not going to trade up in the draft. I think that's super unlikely for the Patriots. I think they want to get more picks, not lose picks. So I just don't see them trading up in this draft. So it's either we're picking at 21 or we're trading back. And okay, let's see how this board goes. But Devonta Wyatt on the board, some consider even better than Jordan Davis. But if you don't, then he is the second best interior defensive lineman. Both Jordan Davis and Devonta Wyatt, both guys that will be going in the first round. A lot of times, Devonta Wyatt's not here. So we'll see who's on the board, but definitely a guy we're going to have to look into. Andrew Booth, unfortunately, off the board. Chris Olave to the Chargers. That's an interesting one. Garrett Wilson, Jordan Davis off the board. Jameson Williams, Kyle Hamilton. I feel like the rest of these are going to be pretty self-explanatory. So let's scroll down here. So I'm a little surprised Sky Moore's here. I think PFF thinks that he's going to be a little bit high on the board. Another disclaimer I want to make is that the Patriots made a trade today with the Houston Texans. They sent their 5th round pick over to Houston in exchange for a 6th and 7th round pick. This leaves us with 1 5th round pick still. PFF, unfortunately, did not update that. So at this current time, that's not updated. Hopefully I can make another draft where PFF updates this, but it all depends on if PFF's going to update this quick enough. So we'll just have to see. I'm not going to go to Kobe Dean here. I'm hearing that a lot of these linebackers we're talking about going in the first very well could go in the second. I think there's going to be a big drop on linebackers starting to go in the second, third round, especially. Nakobe Dean is a guy that I'm hearing is either going to go at the end of the first round or is going to go at some point into the second, probably the early second. I'm just not a fan of going to Nakobe Dean here. I like Nakobe Dean. I like him as a person. I like him as a player. I love him here in New England, but you kind of look at the type of player he is as a linebacker. And again, I do think the Patriots already have a lot of linebackers we just have to see the potential of. I'm just not big on going to Nakobe Dean here at 21. Zion Johnson is the other guy I've seen a lot of people talk about. One thing about Zion Johnson is he's mainly a guard. Okay, he has some tackle potential. We click on him here. He does have some tackle potential. He has very little, but still a little bit of tackle potential. Played over 700 snaps at left guard this past year. In 2019, also played over 700 snaps at guard. But in 2020, he played played all of his snaps actually at starting left tackle. But he's got to be more of a guard in the NFL. I'm just not a big fan of going at 21, especially in the first round. A guy that is going to be in the guard position. The NFL in general, it's hard to value guards in the first round a lot of the time. A lot of the time you're going to draft an offensive lineman, it's probably going to be a left tackle, right tackle, just the tackle in general. A lot of the times if you're going to see guards or tackle or centers rather go in the first round, it's going to be right at the end of the first round. So if the Patriots do manage to trade back right at the end of the first round, then I could see someone like Zion Johnson potentially going to the team. But at 21, I don't like the idea. I mean, I'm not a big fan because the Patriots are a team that in general can just draft offensive linemen, especially the interior guys, very well. Like, just get a guy in these mid to late rounds and at the guard position. I think this team will be perfectly fine. Even rounds 3, 4, 5, I think you can get very quality guys at the guard position rather than having to get a guy in the first. I just think there's more needs and guys that can fill those roles better. Kyrie Elam's here. Jermaine Johnson's another guy I really like. I wouldn't hate to see the Patriots go edge defender. You still need that guy next to Matt Judon, all right? You have one side down pat. Unfortunately, you let Kyle Van Noy go. Who's that guy on the other side of Matt Judon that's really going to push the edge, get to the quarterback? I don't love the idea of it being Diesch Wise. I like Diesch Wise, but I don't love the idea of him being that guy opposite of Matt Judon. I don't think Jermaine Johnson will be here. I think that there's a lot of really good tackles that could go in the first. I think there's like 4 good edge defenders that could go in the first. So one of them very well could fall to 21. I don't think it's going to be Jermaine Johnson personally, but that's just me. I also think that you can get edge defenders later on in the draft. I'm not going to go Sky Moore at 21. Let's look at Devonta Wyatt here. If the Patriots were to trade down, you're not going to get Devonta Wyatt later. They say between the two Georgia defensive tackles, Wyatt is the far more explosive athlete, and it showed as a pass rusher as he finished with an 84 grade, and he was dominant in the Senior Bowl. Wyatt has the most all-around skill set in the defensive tackle class and can make an impact from day one. Pretty good grades here. He was able to put up 4 sacks this past year, 17 hurries, 5 quarterback hits. Mainly plays at the B gap. See what his trends are, just out of curiosity. See what his analysis is. So I think he's more of a versatile defensive tackle. He's capable of lining up anywhere between the tackles, and he's best when he can be put at the first step to good use, and his game can still fit into any scheme. His power moves are more what he can work on better. His pass rush arsenal, I think, can be used better. He's more of a guy that uses just the same moves and uses his strength over and over again rather than a multitude of different movements. So I think that's definitely one thing he can improve on. But he's very quick, very quick. I mean, you draft Wyatt here. I mean, that's your defensive line. I mean, you're now making guys like Lawrence Guy, Devon Godchaux, you're making those guys expendable at this point. You really don't need those guys who are both signed to pretty big contracts. You can definitely afford to lose at least one of those guys if you don't want to move on from both of them. but you have your guy next to Christian Barmore. I mean, Christian Barmore is your first overall defensive tackle. That's your number one guy, but he's getting double, triple teamed already. And in the NFL, if you want to disrupt an offense, it's great to have edge rushers that can collapse that pocket. But if you can get pressure from the interior of the defensive line, that is the best way to disrupt an offense. When you already have one defensive tackle that can do that in Christian Barmore, then you add two defensive tackles that are so elite at getting to the quarterback with Matt Judon on the other side. I mean, it's going to be hard for quarterbacks to have time to throw. And I feel like one of the worst things for the Patriots, especially defensive wise, down the stretch of that second half of the season, when that defense really started to, let's be honest, suck, was that pass rush became non-existent. Matt Judon, non-existent. And we had issues within that secondary already. And because of those issues we had in the secondary, you needed your defensive line and that pass rush to get to the quarterback right away. And you were asking your secondary to cover guys for too long. And you had guys back there like Josh Allen just sitting back there having a tea party, just chilling, having their good grand old time. I think if you bring in Wyatt here, he's a guy that makes that day one impact easy for sure. You have your two interior defensive linemen that can stop the run, but especially put pressure on the quarterback. And you already have your other edge defender in Matt Judon. Now, the other question, who's your other edge defender? But I think this becomes one of the best defensive lines in all of the NFL. It's definitely hard to pass up Devonta Wyatt. I mean, you're looking at the corners that are on here. Kaiir Elam's not bad. We went Kaiir Elam in the no trade mock draft. He's not my favorite for the Patriots. If Andrew Booth was here, I'm easily going Andrew Booth. I just think at this point there might be some other better fits for the Patriots. And when we reach second to the third round at cornerback to go with. I like Devonta Wyatt. I think this is going to be a big defensive draft for the Patriots and not so much offensive draft. Also, we've done a couple of drafts already. I don't want to go with the same guys. And Devonta Wyatt, he's not usually here. So the fact that he's here, I think this is a good pick for the Pats. And I think that really helps to solidify your defensive line. Like, I think that makes edge defender a little less of a need. Trying to think if there's any trade I want to make. I probably don't want to trade up into the second. I'm going to see what corners are on the board. Did I do corners yet? I did some. I probably should have done some more research. Let me see. I want to look at the corners here because corners obviously a huge need. We didn't get to do that in the first. So we have Marcus Jones here. I love Marcus Jones. I think Marcus Jones is great. He played for what, a 5'10", 5'9", 5'10" cornerback. He played great on the outside with several interceptions in college at Nebraska, but coming to the NFL, I think that side is going to be a little bit more of an issue. Huge special teamer, great return man. I mean, he's going to be a game changer from a special team standpoint. Probably looking at more of a slot cornerback here, though, for the NFL. In the second round, though, don't love it. I want a guy who's going to really make an impact for the team. And I'm sure for my luck, Kyler Gordon went off the board. Quay Walker, I will say, I would have loved Quay Walker for the Patriots too. He went just a couple of picks before, obviously, unfortunately for me. Quay Walker, one of my favorite linebackers for the Patriots to get. He is one of the best pass rushers from a defensive standpoint in this entire draft. I've seen people relate him back to like Jamie Collins, except a little bit slower. I think the Patriots could use a young Jamie Collins. I'm a big fan of Quay Walker. I really do like him. Brisker also went off the board. I like him. There's no way Kyler Gordon's still on the board. There's just no way. And unfortunately, I am correct there. Kyler Gordon does go off the board at 39 as a high second rounder. Well, this is just a supply and demand for corners at this point. I mean, corner. Roger McCreary's off the board. Everybody is off the board from a cornerback standpoint. And the other thing I will say, there's a lot of slot corners There's a lot of slot corners in this draft. Do we have Martin Emerson? So there is Martin Emerson. I do have him on my board. I have Martin Emerson as like a more of a zone guy for sure. But if the Patriots are looking to make that switch to zone, this shouldn't be a problem. If they're looking to, play man again at some point and be a man-heavy defense, Martin Emerson might not be your guy. But I have him as like my 9th best guy. Kyler Gordon's off the board. Roger McCree's off the board. Is Tyreek Woolen off the board? I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is because of the supply. Oh, no, he's not. He's actually right here. So I think this is like an ideal spot probably to trade down for the Patriots if you're, can acquire another 3rd, 4th round pick. This is a really good spot to probably trade down. Things didn't exactly go our way. Woolen at 6'4", 205 pounds. It's a great height. I mean, that's your outside guy right there. Woolen has a unique physical set that hasn't yet been seen in NFL history. There aren't many 6'4", 205 pound cornerbacks in the first place. They are physically 0 with 4.2 speed for a 40-yard dash. I did not know that Woolen was that fast. Holy. He's only been playing cornerback for 2 years and already has made massive strides. Wow, I did not know that Woolen was that fast. Damn. Like I said, mainly corner. Played a little bit of box. Numbers here aren't great. So, I like Tyreek Woolen here. He's another guy who's going to play more zone. He can play some corner, but he's mainly a zone guy. I like the upside, but these numbers here just don't help. Especially coming from a small college, these numbers just don't make me feel better. And in the 2nd round, I don't exactly just want to take a chance. I'm thinking we probably trade down. And then I'm hoping that like a guy like Martin Emerson, if we take a look at him, hopefully he'll still be there, which he should be. I don't see why he won't. 6'2", 201 pounds. It says Emerson possesses the ideal size for a cornerback position at the next level and was exceptional at putting caps on opposing receivers in college. He allowed only 1 catch for 25+ yards this past season as a 3rd round pick. They say Emerson gets by with his size, but his athletic limitations are scary for an outside corner. What are his trends? Out of curiosity, we're actually on the trends. These numbers are a lot better. A lot better. I'm thinking we trade back and then we try to get Martin Emerson is going to be my take here. He's very patient and under control play style. Where he wins is his length. We said that earlier. He's going to play more of a press zone. Emerson is a press zone corner. He can stonewall guys at the line, but he's not going to be able to guard a full route tree in the NFL. And where he can improve is off coverage. Most of Emerson's negative plays are physical nature. I feel like, I don't want to say you can teach a guy to be physical. A lot of times they say, hey, you want a guy who's going to be too physical, and then say, hey, lean it back rather than tell a guy to get more physical. But I do think that you can definitely get a guy to be more physical. His comp is Trey Flowers, and Trey Flowers is a pretty good corner. I don't know if I would say he's a number 1 guy, but I do think he is still a pretty good corner in the NFL. I think he's a quality number 2. So I like the idea of going Martin Emerson. So I think we're going to trade back here and then try to pick him up. I could see a trade with the Hawks. I could see the Hawks trying to trade up. I could also see a trade with the Dolphins. But that's without that connection of Brian Flores at this point. Maybe that's a little less likely because they're still in division. So let's go here. Let's say, hey, we want 72. You give us 54. Or no, we'll give you 54. Excuse me. We want 72. Give us 109. And can we get a 7th rounder with that? That would be ideal. Oh my God, we did. All right, sweet. So the Patriots trade down a little bit here. We're going from 54 to 72, but we pick up 109. What's that? I think that's a 3rd round pick. I think we pick up like a 3rd round pick here. Might be 4th round, but I think it's a 3rd. Am I right? Let me check. That might be a 3rd round pick, though. The 3rd or a high 4th. And then we're also getting a 7th round pick. What I like about the 7th round pick, because right now we technically don't have one, even though in real life we do because of the trade we just made with the Texans, but that gives you the ability to get a guy late in the round, late in the draft, 7th round, that you didn't expect to fall, that you can kind of own the rights to, rather than having to bargain for him as an undrafted free agent. Bill Belichick always does that. I think this makes a lot of sense here, grabbing 229 in the 7th. Yeah. All right, I like it. Let's do it. And I don't know why they wouldn't accept it. Let's resume. John Mechie just goes off the board. Doesn't surprise me. I went John Mechie before. I have a plan at receiver. Stay with me. So don't worry about that. Wow. Oh my God. I did not expect Salyer to still be here. Oh, that makes things a little bit different. This makes things a little difficult. Let me see. Oh, Patriots could get their guard right here. But again, I feel like we can get a guy still that they can develop later in this draft. Where is where the heck is he? Where's Emerson? Did I pass him already? No, he's still all the way down. Wow. He has an average draft projection of going 68. And yet we're at 72, and they still have him all the way down this board. This is tough. This is real tough because there's multiple spots I could go here right now. I could get our future left tackle and go with where is he? Kellen Diesch. I could go here out of Arizona State, get our future left tackle. I could get our guard with left tackle potential, but he's definitely more of a guard in the NFL out of Georgia, Jameer Salyer. Our next pick is also 85. What's this one trade? Because if I could trade down, maybe compile a couple more picks. I'm up at 85. The Falcons at 74. I think we could trade down still and still grab something. It's only a couple of spots, and I mean, I don't think we're gonna get much. Can we 17% chance. I thought I would push my luck. Thought I'd push my luck, see if I could get it. We're probably looking at more like 151 in reality. So 74. We're moving down 2 spots for 74 and 151. They accept it. Let's see who they go. And sweet. I mean, we got another pick. We're still here with all of the guys we wanted before still on the board. And we compile up another pick. So what I'm thinking, this is tough. Because I really like Kellen Diesch here. I mean, the left tackle for the Patriots. This is your future left tackle right here with the ability to take over as the blind-sided left tackle for Mac Jones. This guy, Kellen Diesch, he's somebody who excels more at pass protection, still very good at run blocking. But if you're talking about a left tackle, I'd rather have a guy who's high-end pass blocker and still good and, average to a little bit above average as a run defender, because that blind side is super important to protect. And Kellen Diesch, I think, is going to be able to do that at the next level here in the NFL. But the Patriots also need their starting left guard. He does have some experience, like we talked earlier, at tackle or a left tackle, but I think he is going to be more of a guard in the NFL. And the Patriots do need their guard. But they also have him as a 5th-round pick. Let me look at my offensive line-wise. I will say I do have him a little bit higher than Diesch, just overall offensive lineman. He allowed only 1 pressure while playing left tackle and right guard in the national championships. The Patriots need guard and tackle potential. They need a starting left guard right now. He plays left guard and a little bit of left tackle. Mainly played left tackle, but they do think he's going to be more of a guard. Let me see the other interior offensive lines we have on the board. I'm just not personally big on going with him here. Like, me personally, I'm much bigger on Diesch here. 77 with 92. This is tough. I don't think Patriots fans are going to love this, but I'm pulling the plug. Maybe I'm taking him a little bit early. PFF is absolutely going to hate me for this, but I have to go with Kellen Diesch here. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with Isaiah Wynn at left tackle. He's also injury prone. I think he's going to get more of a market somewhere else next year. If the Patriots wanted, you draft Diesch. He could start for you right now. You trade away Isaiah Wynn. You get something in return for him, not to mention the fact that you're getting rid of that big cap number that he has. That's over $10 million just for this season. And you have the guy that's going to be able to replace him already in the building if you want to sit him or even play him. Look at these numbers, guys. I mean, 83.4 or 84.3, excuse me, run blocking grade, 89.4 pass blocking grade. He allowed 2 sacks this past season, 1 sack in 2020, 0 the year before. He allowed 0 quarterback hits throughout his entire college career and 6 hurries this past season. He's absolutely insane. Not a lot of versatility. He's really just going to be a left tackle, but that blindsided left tackle position is one of the most important positions in football, period. And he's not going to be there by the next pick. I have to go with him here. And I will say that was tough. And I'm trying to think now because there's a couple of things I want to do here. Probably let this slide. I don't think my guy should go by 85. Martin Emerson goes. No. Oh. So Martin Emerson goes a couple picks before. He's not the guy that I was looking at, but I mean, ideally, I don't love waiting to go corner here. This is just how it's shaking out right now. There's one guy at the wide receiver position I do want to grab. It's not Romeo Dobbs. It's Khalil Shakir. I want to look at the corners on the board real quick and then see if maybe we could trade up. Let's go corner. Zion McCollum's here. He's 122 to 104, so I'm going to have to trade up to get him. You won't find a better all-around athlete at the cornerback position in this draft class. McCollum still allowed 371 yards in his coverage last year against FCS competition, though. 6'2", 199 pounds, decent build. Numbers are a little up and down here, as we can see. But I actually do like Zion McCollum. I do think that we'll have let's trade back and get him. He's 122 to 104. So we're probably going to trade up because we're not going to – I don't know if he'll be there by 109. I just don't want to take that chance. So let's go. Let's get our receiver here. Khalil Shakir. I'm a big fan of Khalil Shakir. The Patriots met with him twice. This is probably a little bit high for him, but you're securing that. You're securing getting your guy here, which I really do like. You missed out on John Mechie, unfortunately. But you get Khalil Shakir, who really good route runner, a guy who once he gets the ball in his hands, he does his dirty work. I mean, this is a guy where if you want to operate in the short to intermediate route, you want guys in the building that are elite with the balls in their hand, which I think the Patriots need more guys of. This is the guy to get. Let me tell you, once he gets the balls in his hands, he can turn a 8-yard slant into a 15, 20-yard gain. And it's not necessarily with that speed. He has decent speed, but it's what he's able to do just after the catch with the moves that he has. And the Patriots need more of that. N'Keal Harry, not that guy. You thought you were going to get that with Jonnu Smith. Maybe we still will, but things haven't worked out as of yet. Hunter Henry, he's not a guy who's going to do much with anything after the catch. Jacoby Myers isn't going to do anything after the catch. You need another guy outside of Kendrick Bourne that's going to do something after he gets the ball in his hands. And Khalil Shakir, who I clicked on the wrong guy, excuse me. And Khalil Shakir is a guy who's very much going to be able to do that. They say, Shakir was a human highlight reel for the Broncos. His body control and hands are the stuff of legend. He likely profiles best from the slot and putting up over 1,000 yards there in 2021. I don't hate that he's a slot receiver, 6'1", 196 pounds. He still has the ability to play on the outside, but Patriots needs that elite guy in the middle. I feel like we're on trend here. Yeah, of course we are. You look at these numbers, absolutely elite. Let me see. What's he averaging per reception? Yards per reception, 14.5, 13.8, 13.8 again. He is an absolute chain mover. 6 foot, 196 pounds, still decent build. Where he wins is his body control. He wins over with body control, whether that's at the catch point or avoiding linebackers. Shakir can contort any which way he needs to. Where you can improve is separating downfield. I don't necessarily, hate the fact that he's not great downfield, because while you love to have a guy who can be a downfield threat, of course, the Patriots don't really operate there. They operate with the short to intermediate route. So I just think that he's a really, really good fit for the Patriots. They've met with him twice. It makes so much sense for him to come here. If you're not going to get John Mechie, get Khalil Shakir. Those are my guys. Those are my two guys. So I'm going to go with him here. Like I said, we're probably going to have to trade up. I'm just thinking where I want to trade up. I know our next pick here is 109. Damn. I want to get Zion McCollum. I'm just trying to think where a good spot to get him is. Because I don't want to trade right after we just picked. I also think it's still a little bit high to take him. I feel like the Ravens would be a good spot to trade with. All right, I think the Ravens would be a good spot to trade with. Trading down, what, 9 spots? Only a few spots. Right at the end of the third, and we secure him. And I'll give you... You want 200? My God, they're actually willing to. So I'm going to give him the 200th overall pick. It's what, a 6th rounder, I believe. Offer trade. They didn't like that. All right. 83 and your 7th? They don't like that. Or your 6th, excuse me. All right. I'll give you 109 and 183 for 100. Can I get next year's 7th? Nah, they're going to be D-bags about it. And we got it. Let's make sure we secure him. Maybe a little bit high, but I wanted to secure him. We get Zion McCollum here. I think this is an excellent, excellent pick by the Pats in the 3rd round. I didn't want to wait any longer. Just got to say that. I didn't want to wait any longer. Secure your guy. Make sure you get him. And I feel good about that. All right. Let's see. So far, we've gotten corner. We've gotten receiver. We've gotten tackle. And we've gotten interior of the defensive line. I'm actually surprised that Kyle Phillips is still here. But he's going to be another slot guy, so I don't want to go there. Ooh, Damon Clark is here. I have him on my board. Excuse me. Go to my linebackers. Let's corner. Safety. So I want to go Damon Clark here. Give you guys some perspective on him. So he's going to be a Patriots linebacker coming out of LSU. I like big college at the collegiate level. A big downhill physical runner. He's going to be a guy that stops the run. He's not going to be your, small linebacker who plays in coverage, gets lost in the run. Belichick is the type of guy who, hey, if I want a guy who's going to, be a coverage linebacker, I'm just going to go ahead and draft a safety and ask them to cover him. If I'm going to get a linebacker, I want these guys who can stop the run, come down to the line of scrimmage and make plays. And that's what Damon Clark is going to be able to do. And we haven't gone linebacker yet. So Clark would be 50 spots higher on the board were it not for his spinal fusion surgery that will keep him sidelined for his rookie season. And that's going to turn off some Patriots fans, but hey, you're going to get a really good player. He ticks the size and athleticism boxes wholesale with only a 7.1% missed tackle rate over his entire career. Patriots, they got a steal potentially with Cameron McGrone. They obviously don't shy away from guys who have some injury history, so I don't think they'll do it again. Like I said, they said he'd be a day 2 pick. Are we on here? No, we're not. He has a lot of versatility too. Played a little bit in the slot, played some D-line, plays in the box. Has a lot of run defensive snaps that you can see, but also can play coverage. He's a guy who can come down and stop the run, but he is still an all-around linebacker. Excuse me. So they say he wins with sideline to sideline. They said that he can really crank it up at hot full speed, make some plays on tape that look like a cheetah chasing down a gazelle. His tackling ability on the move is some of the best in the class. He's going to be an all-around linebacker. They say he doesn't possess much in the way of physical limitations. He got the kind of ability to fill in any linebacker role that you could ask for. They said that he could prove his eyes and that he'll get manipulated from time to time with certain offenses and certain looks. I like it here, though. I think that he's going to be good for the Patriots. Might not play this season, but still, when he does get back, a guy who should have won in the second round if he was, healthy. I think it's a good steal. And Patriots have been, proven they're not scared to take those guys. All right, let's see who's on the board. All right, where are we? The 5th round here. We have a lot of late round picks. These are guys we're just going to take flyers on at that point. Montford's there, and we haven't gone guard. Let's look. Between left tackle and left guard. He profiles a guard in the NFL. Not bad. 76.8 to an 83. 76.8 pass block with a 83.0 run blocking grade. And they get to these late rounds and they don't want to tell us anything about him. That's usually how that goes. Munford out of Ohio State. They have him as a 4th round pick. He's experienced enough and technical enough to see the field as a tackle or a guard. 6'6", 328 pounds. I'm actually a big fan of Munford. I think that also coming from a bigger collegiate level, he could, you kind of know what you're getting more from a guy rather than a guy playing at a small college. I actually am a big fan of him. I think here is pretty good value. We get our guard. And again, he also has tackle experience and has the size to play both too. In the 5th round, again, I feel like this is a really good spot to go running backs. I don't know if my running backs are on here. And they are not. Can we get him later? No, they have him ranked there. 15, I want to maybe push a lot. I mean, they have him ranked at 158. We're already at 158. He has an average draft projection of going 178th. I like Zaquandre Wyatt. I think he's a really, really good pass catching back. And I think that's going to be his main cup of tea. I mean, you're getting him in the 5th round here. You're kind of taking a chance. But you need that guy to replace James White at some point. We don't know how James White's going to come back. Hasn't been himself in a while. Coming off that season-ending injury, haven't signed for 2 years. But if James White doesn't look himself for 2022, I could see the Patriots moving on. I definitely think they're going to draft a running back at some point. And here we get it with Zaquandre White here in the 5th round. We have a lot of 6th to 7th round picks. Damn. I could see the Patriots trading one of these for like next year. So I could see us trading this pick. Let's see who's interested, and it's going to be no one. All right, well, no one's calling, so I don't want to force it if no one's calling. In these 6th to 7th rounds, you're really just taking Taking flyers on guys. Haskins is another running back I really do like. I wouldn't mind if the Patriots went with him too. I say we go with Matt Ariza here. The Patriots could save money if they actually move on from Jake Bailey, and Matt Ariza is just, I mean, this is a punter talent you just don't see. This is talent you just don't see come around ever. And I think Matt Ariza could be one of the very, very few special teamers, especially at the punter position, that we end up seeing, going into like the Hall of Fame. So I'm going to go with Matt Ariza. If you don't know about Matt Ariza, you're living under a rock. And we have some trade calls here. I don't mind trading. I'm kind of thinking, hey, whoever the later round guys is probably going to give us better picks. So if we give you 210, 6th rounder, will you give me a 2023 5th? Not be accepted. Give me a 6. What? Well, if you're not going to give me a pick next year, I really don't care. Damn it. Will you give me a pick next year? Well, I don't know why we vetoed it. Look like they're giving us a freaking 7th round pick next year, and Vikings wouldn't do that. So it looks like we can get 2 2023 7th rounders for the 6th, and I say we do it. And we do it. I like that. Give up your 6th this year. We already have multiple other picks. And we get 2 2023 7th rounders. I'm a fan. All right. I already know what I want to do with the very last pick. But let's see what we're going to do here. I think ideally I do like Brad Hawkins. I think this is potentially good for the Patriots. He's also coming out of Michigan, so he's playing at a high competition level. Forced incompletion rate 20%. He's mainly going to play deep, so you're going to get your deep safety. You're getting a guy in the 7th round who could potentially play deep for you. I think this is a really good steal. He put up good coverage grades this past year, 80.4 coverage grade, a run defensive grade of 84.9, missed tackle rate of 10.3%. Once you kind of reach that 10% rate, you get a little bit concerned. So that's a little bit too high, but it's 7th round. So I like that. And then I already know what I want to do with this last pick. Yeah, you guys know it was coming. Slade Bolden here. He might be something for us. He very well could not be. I don't love his talent transitioning to the NFL. He very well could be nothing, but I think that the Patriots will either draft him in the 7th or they'll get him as a UDFA. At least you get him here in the 7th. You get him on a very, 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 very low rookie contract. And you don't really have to worry about other teams potentially, bidding after him. So Patriots get Slade Bolden. You missed out on John Metchie with that Mac Jones connection. You at least get Slade Bolden. Very, very late 7th round pick. And they still also have that connection. Was besties with Mac Jones. Was roomies with Mac Jones. So that at least that chemistry and connection is there. Can that translate on the field? We'll just have to see. All right, finish this draft up. And that's our draft. We'll see how they graded it, although it really means nothing. B+. We got him for excellent value. Okay. I knew they weren't going to like that Kellen Diesch pick. I knew they weren't. It was excellent value. If we didn't get him here, he wasn't going to be there by our next pick. whatever. So in the first round, Devonta, Wyatt, interior defensive lineman, they gave us a B+. You solidify that defensive line, get an interior guy that can help stop the run, but also rush the passer. Now you have two guys at the next level, young guys who are in the prime that can rush the passer through the middle. And I think that's going to be an absolute game changer. Then we traded out of the second round, unfortunately, but we traded with the Seahawks for our second round pick, and we got a third round, a fourth round, and a seventh round. Not terrible. They give us a B- for that. They give us a B- here when we traded with the Falcons. We traded our third, and we went from 73 or 72. We traded 2 spots down for 74, and we picked up another 5th round pick. I don't see how you can hate that, but okay. Didn't like Kellen Diesch. I love Kellen Diesch here. You're getting a guy who's good at stopping the run. You're getting a guy who is excellent at pass protection. You can move on from Isaiah Wynn at this point. His injury history, the money he's going to require. He's in his contract year. Move on from him at this point. You get your next guy at left tackle. I love that. Khalil Shakir, love that pick for the Patriots. A guy who's going to fit perfectly within this system. Short to intermediate route. Does perfect things with the ball in his hands. Then we went and we gave the Ravens a 4th and 6th pick for their 3rd round pick. I mean, I knew that PFF wasn't going to like this. I didn't necessarily love it, but I wanted to make sure that we got Zion McCollum, who probably wouldn't have been there by our next pick. You know, we hadn't gotten a cornerback at that point. I love the potential of Zion McCollum. PFF is just a big hater. Thayer Munford, we get our guard here with tackle potential if we need it. It was a Quandre Wright in the 5th round. We get a guy who's able to be the next pass catching running back for the New England Patriots. I love it. He's young. Sit him for a year or two under James White and kind of redshirt him. They gave us a D-, although he's a 5th to 6th round projection. Don't want him to give us a D-. Matt Araiza here, you get your punter. Excuse me. You know, Belichick is going to look into that. B-, Brad Hawkins, guy who can play deep for you. Very versatile. Getting him in the 7th round. Love that. And then B+, Slade Bolden. And then, of course, you did also trade your 6th round pick to the Packers for 2 7th in 2023. And they gave us a B- overall. I mean, at the end of the day, these grades don't necessarily mean anything because they're PFF, but just to kind of recap and kind of give that perspective on what PFF thinks. Before we end this video off, I want to give a big shout out to the sponsors of the channel, betonline.ag. Our partners at BetOnline continue to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, including updated odds on the playoff fights and even next season's futures. And don't forget that baseball is back, and the start of the new Major League Baseball season is also here. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas, casino, and Packer games. It's super easy to get started, so all you guys have to do is go to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and use that promo code CLNS50 to receive a 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. But I appreciate you guys for watching. That's going to be it for this mock draft with trades. I'm hoping to get one more out before the trade actually happens Thursday. But without further ado, I appreciate you guys for watching. I have a lot more content to make, and it is very late. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure to leave a big like on this video. Subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. But I'll catch you in the next one.